said I will consult because my decision to contest was not my personal one, even though I want to be. And as I said, look, I have a vision for the Senate because the Senate has drifted and is drifting to a position where it will not serve its purpose. The Senate is supposed to be an institution of 199 equally divided members from three from states that are supposed to fashion out, stabilize the policy. And these are people that are matured. In fact, some of us are the younger generations in the Senate. And I think to say it mildly, it's not fair for you, who is seen as a leader, to be, for somebody to appoint a leader for leaders. The leaders are supposed to appoint who is supposed to be their leader. And in fact, in the Senate, it's supposed to be one among equals. The Senate president is supposed to be truly the Senate president, not senator's president. Now we are again getting a senator's president. And I think that we need Senate president. This country needs Senate president. And this country needs a Senate that belongs to Nigerians. That the Nigerians will give us a signal or an indication of who they want amongst you when the party does what aids what is in the Constitution. Because zoning is not in the Constitution. But the purpose of zoning is to enhance what the Constitution says, that there should be equity, justice in whatever the government does. So that's why the party will now say, since the president has come from Northwest, the vice president comes from Southwest, now the Senate president should come from Northeast. And so also are other geopolitical zones. And that is where it's supposed to stop. And we are supposed to be given the honor to say, okay, we have zoned this position to your Northeast. You senators from Northeast, go and get a leader. Or go and choose one of you, and then in consultation with others. Or, at best, in this case, like I wrote to the party that I intend to contest for that position. I think I deserve that honor to be invited to say, look, Ndume, we don't want you to contest for this position for so-so reasons. And we want you to support so-so person. I was not given that honor. There's a Borno that asked me to contest. Now I'll say, oh, they have decided on this person, no, what do we do? That is one. Two, I will consult with my colleagues that I've talked to. I've talked to many of my colleagues. I will consult with them on the way forward. And most importantly, I will still continue consulting God, because He is the one that ultimately decides.
Yes, do we, sir?
It says that the Senate shall elect its the Senate President and the Deputy. So, and as I told you, my decision to contest for the position of the Senate President is not very personal, as so to say. My colleagues, even my colleagues, encourage me. Not only the re-elected ones, but even my former colleagues that we interacted or we had a relationship throughout my sojourn in the National Assembly, said that we should vie for that position. An election is here to be held, and the party even did not say that they have elected Amela. No, they have nominated Amela, because the election of the leadership of the National Assembly is clearly stated in the Constitution. Anything contrary to that means that it is illegal, it cannot stand. So as I said, we wait for what God will do. My colleagues.
In one of the interviews that you granted, people that
have offered themselves to contest for the position. I cannot even nominate myself. Somebody has to nominate me. Somebody has to second, and my colleagues have to decide. So I cannot say that a candidate has been imposed on me. No, on my colleagues. The decision is now left to my colleagues. Having said that, if you look back at the history of the National Assembly, such actions normally do not go down well. In 1999, Ewerem was imposed, and he did not last. And after that, Wabara was also imposed. It did not last. After it happened twice, PDP then, that we accuse of impunity, did not do what happened yesterday. Later on in 2003, PDP showed wisdom by opening up the contest and just zoning the position to North Central. And that was what led to the contest between David Mark and George Akume. And because that happened through a democratic process, David Mark lasted 2 terms, served 2 terms. And even during the 3rd term, he would have been the Senate president if it is not that APC took the majority. And he, served his tenure peacefully. And also, the other leaderships that normally, emerge as a result of the decision of the members, either in the House or in the Senate, normally last longer. Ete was imposed on us in the House of Representatives. It didn't last 4 months. Mulikat was to be imposed, and the House of Representatives rebelled against that. The same thing when Bajamila during 2015 was imposed on the House of Representatives. They rejected it. So also was Ahmed Lawan at that time. And also, truly, the problem we had that time was because of the way the party managed the situation. And I don't think what has happened yesterday also improved on the process. Rather, it has worsened it the way I see it. But my prayers is that the Senate should be what it is supposed to be. It is supposed to be an institution that clearly by the Constitution is supposed to be independent. And what I feel pained most about is that even in primary school or in your own locality or in your own small community, you don't impose a leader on even the children around your compound. They normally have a natural way of saying that this is our captain or this is supposed to be our leader. It normally doesn't hold if you just say that this is your leader. In fact, in the traditional institution where kings, emirs, and chiefs are not appointed, they are elected. If you are a prince, that doesn't guarantee that you will be the king. They are what they call the kingmakers. And the kingmakers in this our case is supposed to be the senators. So now, who owns the loyalty of the beneficiary? Is it the senators, or is it the party, or is it Adam Oshiohmole? You begin to wonder. So I said, this has happened. My colleagues yesterday were shocked. It's myself. But as I said, it is God. It is God that decides. In my religion, God says he is the one that decides who he gives power to. He didn't even say that he gives power to a Muslim. God says in Islam that he will give power to who he wants at the time he wants and the way he wants. So if this is God's decision, it will last. If it is not God's decision, God will take his decision.
Distinguished, I want to make clear terms. Are you telling us now that...
Not only that, in spirit and in line with Mr. President's commitment to fight against corruption, I raised an issue about the importation of Saraki's Range Rover and the issue of certificate of Dino that led to my suspension. I kicked against the amendment of the Electoral Act that was not in the interest of our party and not in line with Mr. President's thinking. I've been standing, and I will continue to stand for what is right. And that is what the President tried to stand for. But I think, and I say that what Adam Oshiohmole, because it was him that said that, just threw it to us, that Ndume Lawan should be our next president. I don't believe that that is truly the position of Mr. President. Because let me add that before I went into this contest, I consulted with Mr. President and he gave me the go-ahead. I consulted with Tinubu, he gave me the go-ahead. That was even immediately after the primaries, before my election. Because to avoid the previous experience, where I did not express my interest early, and then Tinubu told me that, oh, sorry, you came late, I'm already committed to Ndume Lawan. We had that relationship. I had tremendous respect for Mr. President, and I also, the Asiwaju, I have tremendous respect for all of them, but I'm 60 years old, and I try to stand by what is true, the truth, and do what is right. And I always say that I will stand by what is true and do what is right, even if I stand alone.
Distinguished.